Verb phrases and gerunds. A parts of speech lesson by ereadingworksheets.com. Verbs. Verbs are words that show time and action. For example, will jump kick, jump kicks, was jump kicking. All of these express both an action and the time at which it occurred, either in the past, present, or future. Action verbs. Action verbs refers to things that can be done. For example, ran, punched, left. We call these action verbs because they are actions that can be taken by a subject. Verbs of being. Existing itself is an action. Helping verbs are auxiliary verbs who show time and existence. For example, I am mad. What's the action in this sentence? Many of my students believe it's mad, but this is not the case. Can you mad? No, you cannot. Mad is not an action to be taken. So what is the action in that sentence? The action is am. Mad describes the way that I am being, but being is the action. So what is the verb in that sentence? Am. He was sorry. What's the action here? You can't sorry, but you can be. Sorry describes the way that he is being. Am, is, are, was, were, will, be, been, been, has, have, had, did, do, does, might, may, must, shall, should, would, could, can. All of these are verbs of being, and it's really up to you to memorize or at least become familiar with these so you can better understand sentence structure. Verb phrases. Verb phrases show time and express an action. Helping verb, auxiliary verb, plus an action verb equals a phrase. For example, I am studying. Verb actually two, am studying. The verb and the action verb combine to form a verb phrase. They are playing chess. What's the action here? There are two actions. Are playing. It is a verb phrase. They will fail. What's the action here? Fail, but will fail. It's a verb phrase, showing that it will not only will they fail, but they will fail sometime in the future. Gerunds. Gerunds are noun forms of verbs. Sometimes we talk about actions as though they were things. For example, reading is fun. What is the action in this sentence? You might say it's reading, but ask yourself, who's reading? Every predicate needs a subject to take it. Since no one is reading in this sentence, reading is not an action. What is the action? Is. The state of being is. So is, we ask ourselves, what is? Reading is the subject. It is the noun form of the action to read. Eating late at night may lead to nightmares. We ask ourselves, what's the action in this sentence? You might think it's eating late at night, but nobody's eating late at night. We're discussing it as a thing. The action is may lead. He hates doing homework. What's the action in this sentence? Well, nobody's doing anything. What he's actually doing is hating. So we're discussing the verb to do homework as a thing. It's a thing that he hates. So it's a gerund. Not every sentence has a gerund, so you can't really look for them in every sentence, but they are used quite frequently. Anytime we discuss an action as a thing, it's considered a gerund. Who cares? Why do we bother studying this stuff? Well, understanding this will help you better understand how sentences work, construct longer sentences, and punctuate properly. Telling the difference between gerunds and verb phrases is critical to understanding sentence structure. So you ask yourself, who's doing what in the sentence? Writing notes is fun and exciting. Well, who's writing notes? Nobody's writing notes. What's the action in the sentence? First thing we should do when we're trying to understand the structure of a sentence is find the action. So what's the action? Is. What is? Writing notes. We are discussing writing notes as a thing. Therefore, it is a gerund, not a verb. Nobody is writing notes. Writing notes is a thing. I am writing notes. Well, what's the action here? Am writing. It's a verb phrase. Who is writing? I am writing. So here, am writing is functioning as a verb rather than a gerund, or the noun form of a verb. Writing notes is the action in this sentence. In review, verbs of being show time. Verb of being plus an action verb equals a verb phrase, such as in the case, I am walking. I was walking. Gerunds, on the other hand, are noun forms of verbs. Walking is a good time. I like walking. Notice that the gerund can function as both the subject and the object of the sentence.